What's going on, everybody? Damien here with Live Your Truth. I had somebody ask me the other day, how do I pick out my fishing spots? And I said two things. One, I pick out the type of fish that I want to target. I have that in mind first. And based on what I want to target, will determine where I need to look for them. So today in this video, what I'm going to do is show you how I find locations for the fish that I am targeting when I go out and do these fishing videos for you guys. So I hope it's going to help. Like and subscribe, get ready, grab yourself a drink, and let's look at some stuff.
So we just go to Google, go to the search bar, type in where you live. I'll type in Ruskin. Okay, now it brings all this up. You're going to go to Maps. And once that opens, I just exit this out so I can get it on full screen. And what I like to do is keep it on satellite mode. It's just easier to see the details in the water, and that's going to be very important when we're looking for places to fish. We are specifically going to be talking about finding saltwater spots in this particular video. We'll do another one on freshwater and rivers and stuff like that, just because there's a lot more research you have to do because of the difference of access that you have when it comes to that. So we're going to start with, let's say, the easiest way that I've found to figure out fishing spots is to know ahead of time what you want to target. If you know what you're going to target, then you know what type of scenario that you want to be in terms of what environment that you want. And so, for example, I will focus on speckled trout in this video, and maybe some sheep's head, just because everybody, who doesn't love sheep's head? I know different people feel different things about trout, but I love fishing for trout. They're a lot of fun, and I love fishing for sheep's head because that's what we'll focus on. Now, so you typed in the area that you want to search in. Now it doesn't mean, so this is Ruskin right here, little old Ruskin, but you can search this entire area. It all depends on how far you're willing to travel, but you can pick out multiple spots ahead of time. That way, if you get skunked in one place, you can just kind of move on to the next. So with trout, what I look for, I know that they love grass. And so since they love grass, I'm not going to be out here in all these super deep waters and these super deep canals. And I'm definitely not going to be out here in the ocean. And so we're going to stay close into the bay. Now you can catch them out here in the ocean, you know, because they love grass. And so if you're zooming in here at the beach, okay, a lot of this dark stuff is grass, seaweed, things like that. You can catch trout in those areas. I wouldn't focus on that out here though. I'd go for bigger fish out there. So, but I want to focus on trout. So when I'm looking for trout, I know they love grass. So I want to be in the flats essentially. So just because I know this area already, I'm going to go ahead and just zoom into what I know so you guys get a great idea. And then you can apply those things to where you live. You know, if you live on the east coast of Florida and you're out there in Daytona or any of those places, you can do the same thing, just apply the same principles to wherever it is that you live, whether you're in, you know, Daytona, the Panhandle, whichever. So I know that my flats are around this area. They're everywhere. They're all of this right here, all of this. All the intercoastal ways have the flats, but for the most part. But in my particular area here in Ruskin, this is a really good spot, E.G. Simmons. I go there quite often, but one of my favorite places is down here in Cockroach Bay. So you just pull the map, and I like the satellite view because it gives me great detail, especially in the actual water, right? And so clearly these pictures were taken when we didn't have storms or anything like that. The water's not milky. You can literally see the sand, you can see the grass, you can see the difference in depths right here in the river, and that's going to be super important. So I launch out of Cockroach Bay. If you guys watched any of my previous videos, you know I launch right out of here for the most part when I do my Cockroach Bay videos. And then I come out. I don't stay in the channel. This is the channel right here that's dangerous. These boats, they launch and they just go crazy right here. They do not care if you're there, knock you over, tip you over with their wake. They just don't care, a lot of these guys, which is unfortunate. But so I stay on this side, but nonetheless, we leave from there, and where we want to end up is this massive area here. It looks big on the screen, but it takes me 10 minutes to paddle from, you know, the boat ramp to here, and then maybe another 5 or 10 to get out here. So 20 minutes of paddling or less, depending on the current. If the current is moving out, then that's really going to help you. You just don't have to do as much work, and you can move twice as fast. But this right here is the prime area to catch trout. You see all these grass patches here mixed in with the sand patches, and you couldn't ask for a better place to catch trout. And if you just got like a Slam Shady, in my last 2 videos, I just went out there with a scented Slam Shady from Salt Strong. I think you get them for free. You just pay for the shipping with them. Or you can get the Z-Man scented Slam Shadies that I just got off of Amazon. And so you get a pack of 5. It's not that expensive. I usually buy 2 at a time because you can go through them pretty quick if those puffer fish are out there. But you get a little Z-Man scented Slam Shady, and you put that on a 1/4 ounce jig head, and you can just do some serious damage. You can watch my previous videos that I did, both my trout videos. That's the exact lure I used the entire video, interchanging using live shrimp, just because I like to go in between the two. You never know what you're going to catch with live shrimp. And so, but anyways, this is the type of area that you want when you're going for trout specifically. You couldn't get a better setup when you get these sand potholes or these grass flats, and they've got all these little patches of sand. It creates the best ambush scenario for them, and they really bite the best when you can provoke them. And so catching the feeding time, the thing with feeding times is you're catching everything else too, which is not a bad day. Catching is catching in my eyes, unless you're catching puffer fish, those super annoying things, but chew the crap out of your lures. But anyways, this is a very, very good environment to catch trout. So this is what you want when you're looking for that. And then if you just scour down, let's say I want to try a new spot. Like, look at all this. Ah, man, this is too much area to kayak, but if you've got a boat, or even something with a trolling motor, this is so awesome. It's such a great part. Right here, you can see there's structure there. It's too much of a straight line to not be man-made, so it's likely man-made. Might even be sunken boats, just because the port, this whole area is the port. But look how deep it is right there. But even right here, this is perfect for trout. You want this setup right here. Now, for sheep's head, here's a really good way to look at it. The Skyway Pier is such a great example. You see all these black lines right here? Get in a little closer. All these black lines, that is structure. Just a bunch of rocks. They were man-made. It makes for perfect fishing. You'll have groupers hiding up in there. You'll have mackerel swimming up and down here. Tons of bait fish. This is littered with bait fish, grunts, mangrove snapper. It's perfect for all of that. Of course, catfish. You can catfish everywhere you go, but that's such a perfect example. You see all this structure right here. So a good rule of thumb is if you wanted to come out here and fish this, you can't see this from the actual pier. If you're standing on the pier and you're looking in the water, you can't see none of this. And so ideally what you want to do is just kind of gauge your distance ahead of time, right? So if I wanted to fish right here, I just click it. And this is better to do on Google Earth, not Google Maps. But if you click it on Google Earth like this, start a pin, and then pull, and then click right here, it'll tell you the distance. So if that's 1 mile, you know that if your car is right here and you drive 1 mile, and you see this little right here, you see this little landmark, then you know, okay, I'm relatively where I need to be. And then you just start casting and figuring it out. So that's a really good way to do it. But on Google Maps, you just zoom in, you see all this structure goes the whole length of the bridge. It's probably all the rubble from the old Skyway Pier, which is what all you see, these random bars of concrete. That's what that is. It's the old Skyway Pier. This is the new Skyway Pier on the left side of it. So anyways, that's how you find structure. That's going to be really, really good for sheep's head. Another thing that you can do is look for oyster beds. So I know, just because I've lived here, that over here in St. Pete, I'll just pull over a little more, all bridges are going to have sheep's head for the most part. So if you can find a good bridge, you can find sheep's head most likely. I'm going to give you 2 other places for sheep's head, because I think you've kind of got the idea in terms of finding the trout. You just need a lot of grass. You need some sand potholes sprinkled in there. You pull a lure through there, that's good for trout. Popping cork with a live shrimp on it. Do a slam shady that's scented on a jig head. I mean, there's no way you can't catch trout unless they're just not where you are. So now, when you go in on a map and you see things like this, you can see, man, this looks a little bit different than sand. That's because all these are oyster beds. And you can't get a better environment for sheep's head than this. And monkfish, unfortunately. But if you can get around something like this, especially at a high tide, this is exposed. Sheep's head don't really like to be in hotter water. They'll go a little deeper. So this wouldn't be the place in a low tide. This picture, you can tell, was taken in low tide because you shouldn't be able to see this. But if it was high tide and I was fishing, I would cast right here. I would cast right there at the bottom where it starts to really peak up. So when it gets that sharp, right? So if you're looking at my mouse, if it's going long up to the surface like that, in terms of like the depth, you would want to fish maybe in the middle. But that's when it goes sharp, fish the cliffs if you can. If you can fish the cliffs, the sheep's head love that. So I'd be fishing all around this. If you go in, you can see this little bridge here. I'd be fishing right here. All this is oyster. I'd be fishing in right here. You see this is sand, but I'd be fishing right here. You're gonna have snook in there. You'll have your catfish, of course, your bait fish, but I'm sure the sheep's head are gonna be in the droves there. Go up a little more. You can see there's more of them. And you could cast all in here, and it would be perfect. That would be just amazing for sheep's head. And then another place I'll give you, we'll go to, we have a place called Weeden Island out here. Here it is. Now Weeden Island is awesome. You can launch your yak right there. Where's the boat ramp? I might have to go back there. This was a boat ramp before. That's interesting. It's gone now. Or maybe not. Maybe it just looks weird on here. Either way, plenty of places to launch your kayak, but on this side of the island, you have this observation pier, and there's oyster beds, grass, everything. This is a massive area. Trout, snook, redfish, jacks, sheep's head, everything is in here, and I can't wait to go over here and do a video. I keep saying I'm going to go do one, but I haven't made it out there yet. But I think the problem is I don't want to launch right here and have to kayak all the way around here to get back up here. But I really want to look at all this. This is good for trout right here. You can get your trout, come in here, and go for your snook and your sheephead. Yeah, we might just have to go out there and do a scout one time. Yeah, see, that's the other thing, is they do a kayak tour through all this, so I have to be dodging other yakkers for a while, but we'll get it figured out, guys. We'll find a place to launch it. I mean, if I have to paddle all the way around for the sake of doing a video for you guys, I will. So, but that's how you do it. So you just get on Google Maps and just kind of search around. Here's another place we're going to go to. Is you can just drive your kayak on here. Like this has a kayak launch right here, but I think they're building something right here. So we will just go down, go any area over here, pull off on the side of the road, park, launch your yak, go out and fish. So I would just cross this little canal here, and I would fish these flats. Look at all that grass. I'd fish that. These are little oyster clusters. I'd fish those for sheep's head. If it's a higher tide, I'd even stay right here and fish all these mangroves and see if I can get any snook. So that's how you do it, guys. I don't want to take up any more of your time. This has already been a long video. I hope you get the point. For snook, you want to look for grass flats. You want to look for little sand potholes for the snook. That's the best way, or I'm sorry, not for the snook, for the trout. You want to hit the grass flats, anywhere in the flats. You're also going to have bycatch there. You know, there'll be ladyfish, there'll be jacks. You might have some redfish out there. Redfish are a little more finicky, so they'll be a little more difficult to target, but you can get them. And so even if you cast towards the beach, all the species I just mentioned, you can get them too, because they love to follow the beach, especially when that sun is out. They'll travel along there. So that's how you find the snook, trout, redfish. And then, of course, again, one more time, if you're looking for some sheepies, then you want to find structures. So any type of oyster bed clusters like that, preferably in a higher tide and a moving tide at that also. Throw yourself some mangrove crabs, fiddler crabs, shrimp tails, or shrimp heads, and they will be absolutely devoured by sheep's head. You can also do bridge pilings anywhere, on any bridges anywhere is a good place to find them. They also like to hang out around the mangroves. As I mentioned before, when I went to the Cockroach Bay, let's see, where is it? When I went to Cockroach Bay Preserve, right, I pulled my kayak along all this. I had a little mangrove crab. I casted right here. This is where I launched my yak up here. But I threw a mangrove crab right here, caught a take-home sheep's head. It was massive. So,
and that's how you do it, guys. Find the fish that you want to target, and then find the environment that they're going to be in. That is how you can really just kind of maximize your research and trying to figure out, not like where would there be any fish. You really want to get the most success, at least for myself. What has made me the most successful is knowing what I want to go after, and then understanding where they like to be, and then finding those areas. So I like to go fish for trout. That's the first thing. Second thing is, where do trout like to be? They like to be out in the flats. They like to be amongst the grass and the sand pothole pits. They like to be in that. Okay, now where are those areas? Get into the map, search them just like we found, and that's how you get it done. So do that with any type of fish ever. If you don't know, so let's say you want to go after a fish, but you don't know what they like, Google is your best friend. Type in habitat for whatever the fish you want to go after is. It's going to tell you, and then you can find out in your area because you would know your area. And if you don't, you can still research just the same. Just look up YouTube videos of people that are doing fishing in your area, and you can find all these tips. And so, but if you want to do the research yourself, this is how you do it. Pick the fish, what habitat they like to be in, find the habitat, and then figure out where you can launch your boat, your kayak, or if you're going to wade fish, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's how you do it. That's all you do. That's all I do. This is exactly how I scout places for every time I make a video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Live your life, live your truth. Go have fun.